Hey everyone, I'm Chris Guthridge from 4Player Network, and these are some of our favorite games from E3 2017. I think it's safe to say that this game was probably one of the biggest new surprises to come out of E3 this year, and that is BioWare's newly announced IP, Anthem. So there isn't a lot about this game really out there in the wild yet. We really only have like a short story trailer, a longer gameplay trailer, and that's about it. Some sparse details here and there. But what we do know about this game is that it's probably going to be structured something very similar to like Destiny, in that you and your friends all play these hero characters called freelancers who wear these really cool, super slick robot exosuit things. And they go out into a harsh, unforgiving world to take on quests and find booty and loot and adventure and, you know, all those wonderful little hooks that are designed to keep you coming back for more over and over and over again. This game is checking a lot of boxes for me. I mean, it has robotic exosuits, it has jetpacks and flight, it has loot and some sort of leveling up experience system, although we don't know exactly how deep or fleshed out that system is yet. It has open world exploration. There's a lot going on here. Now this game is still a little ways off, but perhaps not too far off. They're saying that it's going to come out in 2018. Personally, I'll believe it when I see it. I gotta say, I could not be more excited for this game. This looks like it is right up my alley. I know some people got a little turned off by the comparisons to games such as Destiny, especially some people around 4Player maybe were less than enthused to hear that this was going to be some sort of online co-op RPG experience, but personally, that is my wheelhouse. I await this game with bated breath, and I really, 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 really hope that it lives up to my expectations and its BioWare pedigree.
Hey, what's happening? I'm right behind you.
Crytek has had it rough these past couple of years. Between several poor business decisions, underperforming titles, the whole Homefront fiasco, and the closure of 5 studios, they've been hurting quite a bit and are in desperate need of a new hit that not only boosts the CryEngine in the face of better faring competitors like UE4 and Unity, but also a much needed influx of cash. Though I can't say for certain at the moment, there's a definite chance that may happen thanks to their recently re-revealed title, Hunt Showdown. It was one of the surprise hits of E3, and in a time in which the hottest games in the market are Battle Royale games like Battlegrounds, it has a fair chance of carving out its own space in the genre. Hunt Showdown has a rather intriguing mix of PvE and PvP permadeath battle royale gameplay going for it that surprisingly hasn't been taken advantage of before. As Victorian-era hunters, 10 players in teams of 2 are tasked with hunting down a monster somewhere on a large map and banishing it to hell. Once they've tracked it down and succeed in killing it, they then have to survive long enough to retrieve the rewards from its corpse and escape the map before the other players can track them down and take it from their cold, dead bodies. Between a strong focus on stealth gameplay, an art direction straight out of The Evil Within, and the dynamics between PvE, VP combat, Hunt looks exceptionally interesting. While the Battle Royale genre may be becoming inflated and perhaps nearing its maximum potential, Hunt's PvE, smaller scale focus may yet be able to have a substantial staying power. While it'll be a while before we can say so for certain, it's easily one of the most talked about games of E3 this year, and deservedly so.
Okay, so Bethesda didn't exactly impress at E3 this year, which is a real bummer because going into the show, I was totally convinced that they had the most potential to blow people out of the water. What we ended up getting, though, was a showcase that was mostly filler, with very few game announcements. They focused on games coming out before the end of the year, which was nice, but that really limited what they could actually talk to us about. With that said, they have become one of my favorite publishers over the years. They've got an incredible lineup: Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom, Dishonored, Prey, and of course, The Evil Within. Back when it came out in 2014, The Evil Within showed a lot of promise, despite a few minor issues like the whole annoying letterboxing thing and some camera issues, but for the most part, those were completely overshadowed by what it did really, really well. And Shinji Mikami is a developer I have a lot of faith in, and rightfully so. But the game did what a good horror game should really do, and it fucked with your head. I love the original game because it never felt safe. I felt like anything could happen at any moment. One minute you're being chased through a maze by a dude with big ass safe on his head, and the next you're in a field full of sunflowers heading towards a burning barn that's far in the distance. It was one of the most diverse experiences that I've had in the genre. Hell, it's one of the most diverse experiences I've had in the course of like one single game. Resident Evil achieved an impressive amount of diversity over the course of its entire series, but The Evil Within gave it a run for its money with just one game. Which leads me to why The Evil Within 2 is now atop my most anticipated games of 2017. The mindfuck trailer that we got delivered exactly what I needed to see from a sequel. It showed off the spooky environments, the creepy new monsters, of which there seem to be many, and of course, the mind-bending camera work and transitions that I fucking loved about the original. In fact, that was one of my favorite things about the first game. They did these insane transitions between scenes, and for the most part, it almost always happened in real time. You can catch glimpses of this in the new trailer as the camera pans around Sebastian as he sits up, or when that brick wall gives way to this like black void in real time. But perhaps most notably though, the new trailer seemed to suggest that some of the environments might be larger and more open. I caught glimpses of an open city or a neighborhood street or something like that, but it made me wonder, could this game be semi-open world? Probably not, but wouldn't that be one hell of a surprise? Now, the game didn't have much of a presence at E3 itself though, which is kind of strange. In fact, I'll be honest, I didn't even stroll through the booth. There wasn't a hands-on demo, there wasn't any kind of like video presentation or anything like that. Instead, Bethesda put together a tour of an interactive set piece, is probably the best way to describe it. In fact, they did this with Dishonored 2 back before that game came out, and if you think back to when that game was being shown, they never let anybody play that game with the exception of maybe like Game Informer or something prior to its release. So it's not really super surprising that they're doing that again with The Evil Within 2. I'm okay with this because this isn't a game I want to be really spoiled in any way, shape, or form. The trailer was a wonderful proof of concept. It showed just enough to whet my appetite without delving into actual spoiler territory. Based on the trailer, I know Sebastian's daughter died in a fire, and for some reason he's going to willingly reconnect to the stem system that caused all the trouble in the first game, in the hopes of reconnecting with her again, I'm guessing. I know that you're going to get chased through a spooky house by some kind of weird, spasming ring ghost, but to be honest, that's kind of all I really need to know about the game prior to release. At this point, the only thing I really want to know beyond that is whether the frequent trips to the mental hospital are going to be making a return. I loved how the safe room in the first game slowly devolved and became less and less safe. It was very reminiscent of The Room in Silent Hill 4, and I loved it for that. But to be honest, I kind of hope they keep the lid on these remaining details until release. At this point, all they really had to do was ditch the letterboxing and fix a few issues, because the rest of the formula that's in place is pretty much guaranteed to impress. I really wish I could tell you more or anything at all about how it actually felt to play, but I can't. The good news is, it's one of the few games coming out of E3 that will be playable for everybody very soon. The game comes out on October 13th, 2017. Please, 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 please don't miss this one.
Who would have thought that this was going to be an XCOM clone? This definitely took all of us by surprise. The game's world structure seems a little weird, kind of like Mario 3D World, where you run around collecting coins that can be used for purchasing weapons, with XCOM-like battles placed throughout the path. I got to dabble a little bit into buying new weapons, like I purchased a honey weapon that would shoot honey at an enemy, giving a percentage chance to actually stick them in place so they couldn't move. There was also a weapon that pushed enemies, and one that had a bounce ability, which I guess could be tied into you could bounce them, and then maybe Mario could take an Overwatch-style attack on them. Team Jump is a pretty interesting mechanic where you can use a teammate's position to launch yourself to another place on the map, getting a jump on the enemy. And you can maybe even use this in conjunction with the fact that if you come into contact with an enemy physically, you will automatically do melee damage, which can be used for some pretty cool combos. I will say that what I played was a little bit on the easy side. The Mario crew had significantly more health than the enemies. There's no fog of war, so nothing is really a surprise. It might have just been for the demo, or, maybe the game will just be like that when that comes out. We don't really know for sure. But I do know for sure that I am extremely excited to have an XCOM style game to play on my Switch while I'm on the go. I think Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle will be a great game for people who find XCOM a little too difficult, or maybe as a stepping stone to get people into XCOM.
As far as games and moments that excited me from E3 this year, I feel like I kind of had to put Beyond Good and Evil 2 on that list. For years and years and years since that last teaser for Beyond Good and Evil 2, I've been hoping and praying that it would come back in some form at E3 one year. And you know what? I had kind of given up hope. But, it's back. It's back. Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's sort of back. I don't know. Let's talk about this. They showed a cinematic trailer at the press conference, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was exciting. It looked very Beyond Good and Evil. Yes, it was a lot more colorful in terms of the language, and yes, I didn't really recognize a lot of the characters, but it definitely had that Beyond Good and Evil vibe, that Beyond Good and Evil world. It seemed right. I was excited to, learn about these new characters. And it was a very big moment for me, Michel Ancel was crying up on stage, or tearing up, and that affected me a lot. But then we learned more about the game. I was kind of hoping it would just be another Beyond Good and Evil, kind of a different take on the Zelda formula, but heavily cinematic with good writing and good voice acting and good characters and a cool world with good music and a nice unique look to it. And this is something else. This is like a No Man's Sky kind of like seamless giant universe, procedurally generated. The planets revolve around the sun, like in systems, and that's what makes the sun rise and set. It just seems so complicated. There's real-time meteor showers. I don't know how this thing that he's making, spaceship travel from planet to planet, equals another game in the Beyond Good and Evil series, but it's scary. It's hard to get excited because I feel like whatever that is, it might go the route of like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen, and either horrifyingly disappoint or just never come out. And all I wanted was a simple, follow-up to Beyond Good and Evil that came out 6 months after they re-announced it. But I don't know when this thing is coming out. But it's still kind of exciting because if it is what he says it is, if it really is going to be this big, huge, open game, but still have some of the best elements that made Beyond Good and Evil great, it could truly be, I don't know, the greatest fucking video game ever. I have to expect that now. Thanks. But I'm still really excited. So, there you go. Beyond Good and Evil 2. That monkey, he looks a little gross. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.